Now that the Fed has lowered the reserve rate by 0.5 percentage point and inflation is finally easing up, affordability in the Southern California real estate market is finally starting to improve. So if you're starting to poke around on Zillow or perhaps Redfin or wherever else, there are some major changes in the industry at this time when you're finally ready that you really need to know about before you get with an agent and start seeing homes. Now stick with me until the very end of this video if you want to know why perhaps some neighbors would be really upset with some sellers in their area. First things first, all these changes stemmed from a major lawsuit. Okay, earlier this year, the National Association of Realtors agreed to settle for $418 million. Now, the major gripe was how real estate agents get compensated. And for that reason, moving forward, the biggest thing is transparency with how agents get paid, and also how buyers like yourself, how clients and buyers agents, how that relationship is officially recorded. Before, some agents would actually have them sign agreements, but now it is absolutely required. But there could be some confusion out there if agents aren't sharing this information with their clients. Okay, so first we're gonna cover different ways that you can agree to work with a buying real estate agent, and then we'll move on from there. Later, we'll talk about how the new rules affect submitting offers and how that's going to play out in terms of making your offer stand out and how compensation can be negotiated. Now, the first form we want to talk about is the non-exclusive buyer representation and broker compensation agreement. Okay, so it's pretty simple. Non-exclusive meaning you're just keeping your options open. You're saying, I will work with this agent, but I'm also legally allowed to go ahead and work with other agents as well. Now, I like to think of these types of agreements as a trial period, meaning new potential clients. I don't know them very well. They don't know me. Not quite sure if it's going to work out, so we'll just do a non-exclusive agreement. You're not committing to any one agent. You can work with as many as you like, but you still need to pay attention to how some agents will word that agreement. Because you could get in trouble, let's say, if some agents have in their contracts that, perhaps you have to wait a week after an agent has shown a home. If you go and buy that home with another agent within a specific time, you could be liable for that commission to that other agent. So just know exactly what you are signing. Some agents have some cancellation policies. I would say most don't, but don't just randomly sign anything. Make sure you know what you're signing so you don't get yourself into trouble. Now, it is a trial type environment in my view, but also know that since there's not a ton of commitment from the clients, there's also not going to be a ton of commitment from the real estate agent, right? That agent is going to spend most of their efforts with other clients who have committed exclusively, right? And so it's a two-way street. You should expect about the same amount of commitment to one another. Okay, now the other type of agreement is obviously the exclusive buyer representation agreement. You are committing to that one specific agent. Now, it may depend how long you're committing. You could commit to a month, 2 months, 3 months, however long it may be. But you are saying, this is my agent. I will not work with anybody else. If you do, then the agent you have a contract with can say, hey, you broke our agreement and you're gonna owe me a commission as well as the commission you're already paying with your other agent. So don't get yourself in any trouble, but also sign an agreement that you actually think about and agree to. You know, if you're still thinking about buying a home in, let's say, a few different cities, you may have an agent who is very familiar with, let's say, 2 of those 3 cities. You say, okay, I'm gonna go with this agent if I'm buying in city A or city B, but if I end up finding something in city C, I'm gonna go with this other agent because they're more familiar with that town. Completely allowable and actually pretty smart, right? You want agents to know exactly what you're looking for, and there should be clear communication, clear expectations, and just an overwhelming sense of trust and just overall good spirit working with your agent. You know, it does take some time up front, but it's definitely worth it knowing that we're working for clients who are going to treat agents respectfully, not lie to us, right? You know, agents get all kinds of text messages and emails from these, you know, potential clients, but, you know, we like to do our own vetting. You know, I'm not going to have enough time to meet all kinds of people and open doors for people who just want to go and check out houses and never talk to me again. If you've learned a thing or two from this video, please subscribe so you don't miss any upcoming videos. Another option you have is not to use a buyer's agent whatsoever. Okay, there's no rule that says that you have to use an agent. If you're a first-time home buyer or you haven't bought or sold a home in a long time, I definitely wouldn't recommend it. But if you are comfortable with it, you could give it a go. You can go straight to the listing agent and say, you know, I don't have a buyer's agent, but I'm interested in this home. You know, show me the house, and then if things go from there, you can start to put an offer together. But know that when you're interacting with this listing agent, their fiduciary responsibility is to their seller, right? And so now this selling agent is working both sides of the deal. And do you really think that you're gonna get the best possible outcome if you have an agent doing a dual agency deal where primarily their fiduciary responsibility is with the seller? And there's another caveat that says that selling agent, which is probably, you know, pretty appropriate, is entitled to extra compensation since they're working both sides of the deal. So whatever money you think you may be saving by not working with an agent, you know, it may be costing you in other areas. So definitely know what you're getting into before you decide to look at homes and ultimately make offers or buy homes without having a real estate agent. Okay, now let's talk about how the new rules have changed the game in terms of how agents get compensated. Okay, the new rules clearly state that listing agents cannot post the BAC or the buyer's agent commission on the MLS. Okay, let's pause here and imagine a situation. You finally find your dream home, you go see it, it's wonderful, you just love it. You huddle with your agent and you say, okay, it's time to make an offer. Well, part of your offer, along with your purchase price and your really good terms that makes your offer really strong, has to include, absolutely required, what you are asking for in terms of the seller paying the buyer broker compensation. Now, Most of the time, that negotiation starts anywhere from 2 to 3%. Let's say it starts at 3%, right? Let's say the purchase price, let's just keep it even numbers. It's your dream home. We have a $1 million purchase price, okay? And you offer the seller to pay 3% of the purchase price to your buyer's agent, right? So the seller says, 3%, that's a little steep. I'm not paying $30,000 to the buyer's agent. Now, just because that seller reviews your offer and sees 3%, thinks it's a little high, doesn't mean that the deal is off the table right away. You should probably plan on getting negotiated down if you start at 3. Perhaps they'll come back at 2.5 or 2 or whatever it is. In our area, between 2 and 3% is pretty much the norm. Okay, so a lot of agents will accept 2.5, even 2%. And at that point, it's a happy deal. You know, hopefully escrow goes smoothly, and you have beautiful transaction, and you get to move into your dream home. Okay. But not all deals go smoothly. You could see a counter offer back where the seller's saying, nope, you know, we have new rules and I'm gonna play by them. Instead of 3%, I'm not doing 2%. Maybe I'll offer 1%, right? So in that situation, it depends on the agent you're working with. Right? Some agents will say, I'm not working for anything less than 2%. So if they're willing to pay 1%, okay, the buyer themselves gonna have to pay that differential. All right, so $10,000 is being paid by the seller. Okay, the buyer's gonna kind of have to come up with $10,000 more to pay that real estate agent. Okay. Or, you know, you could find some agents who are saying, we're not going to pay anything whatsoever. And, you know, I haven't really seen that quite yet, at least where we are. I've kind of heard about it with a couple agents, kind of with the reaction of, like, wow, like, who does that agent think they are? Like, you're really going to do that, you know, and be the first person that's offering absolutely nothing to get your home sold. So, you know, it's still early days. We'll see how it all pans out over time. But in those types of situations, the seller says, I'm not paying a dime. You know, the buyer is gonna have to pay their agent. And where they're going to come up with that money? Most likely it's going to come by lowering the offering price, right? So now we're not offering 1 million even. Let's say now we're offering 980,000, right? So that way we can use that 20,000 to pay the agent. Well, what problem does that create? And this is what I was talking about at the top. Well, now the home was meant to sell at 1 million even, and now it's selling at 980. But all your new neighbors around you just saw a home in their neighborhood sell for 20,000 less than the actual market value. Let me know in the comments if you disagree with anything. You know, a lot of people have different opinions on these issues. I guess we'll have to wait for the data, wait for stronger opinions, stronger trends to emerge before we can really decide, you know, who's right and who's wrong. If you want to learn about some specific neighborhoods here in town, then click on this video.